Okay, we're in the fourth lesson of Module 3, and we're introducing dividing fractions today. Before we can start with dividing fractions, we need to look at reciprocals. When we do a reciprocal, we just flip the top number and the bottom number. So instead of 9 over 10, we have 10 over 9. Instead of 1 over 4, we have 4 over 1. Yes, you have to leave the 1 under it. 1 over 3, we have 3 over 1. 6 over 5. 6 over 1. 9 over 6, 10 over 2. Now, when you have a whole number, you just put a 1 underneath of it, and then you flip it. This is 7 over 1, and again, you put a 1 under it, and then you flip it. So we're starting today, and I've taught you that because we have to do that when we're dividing fractions. And we're starting with whole numbers and normal fractions. So I'm going to start by putting a 1. I drop down my first number. I change my division sign to a multiplication sign, and I flip the second number, also known as reciprocal. You're going to use the reciprocal. We're just going to multiply. 8 times 8 is 64. 1 times 1 is 1. So our answer is 64. We're going to put a 1 underneath of it and drop it down. Division changes to multiplication. And then, before I flip this down, I'm going to simplify it down to 1/5. And now I'm going to flip it. By simplifying it first, I do not have to simplify it afterwards. So 14 times 5. So, well, if you can't do that, you're going to go like this. And you get 70. 2/3 is going to come straight down. Division changes to a multiplication. Put a 1 underneath it, and then we flip it. And we can cross cancel here. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 4 twice. So 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Again, so we're going to bring, instead of 2/10, I changed that for you over here to 1/5. So we're going to bring this down as a 1/5. Times, we're going to flip it to 1 over 9, and I get 1 over 45, because 1 times 1 is 1, 5 times 9 is 45. Our next one, we're going to put a 1 under it and drop it down. Division changes to multiplication, and we're going to flip it. When we flip it, that means we get 1s on the bottom, and 12 times 6 is 72. When you have a 1 on the bottom, that means it's a whole number answer. 11 is going to come down as 11 over 1. And I'm going to go ahead. I know that 6/12 is 1/2. Division changes to multiplication, and then we're going to flip it. So I get 22 over 1, because 11 times 2 is 22. 1 times 1 is 1. That means it's a whole number answer. 1/5 is coming straight down. Division changing to multiplication. We're going to put a 1 underneath the 8. Let's flip it for the reciprocal. And we get 1 over 40, because 5 times 8 is 40. Our next one, we have 1/4. Division changes to multiplication. Put your 1 under it, and then we're going to flip it. So I get 1/8. 3 comes down as 3 over 1. Division changes to multiplication, and then we're going to flip the second number. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 1 is 1. So we get 12 as our answer. 2 comes down as 2 over 1. Division changes to multiplication. I'm going to flip it to 8 over 2. You could have simplified this first, but by not doing that, we can cross cancel. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 2 once. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 1 is 1. So we get 8 as our answer. 5/8 comes down. Division changes to multiplication. Remember to put your 1 under your 6 before you flip it. We can do no cross canceling. 5 times 1 is 5. 8 times 6 is 48. And our last one, 1/5 comes down. Division changes to multiplication. We put a 1 under a 7, and then we're going to flip it. So we get 1 over 35. So the first one comes down. We change it to multiplication, and then we flip it. We're going to be practicing this, so don't you worry.